अगाधदिशनं द्विजं प्रसाद इसिनीसाथ कृष्ण तच्चरणं स्पर्शान. हरे कृष्ण माताजी. थैंक यू माताजी.
Thank you. Revti Ratnangi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण। प्रणाम माताजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। आतः अमराचार्यम् अगातादीक्षणां द्विजं प्रसादम् इष्टये निषटः शीर्णाथ शरणं स्वरूषणं। हरे कृष्ण माताजी। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Shubha Rao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, दंडवत प्रणाम। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अताहमराचार्यम् अगाधधिषणं द्विजं प्रसादयिष्ये निशतः शीर्ष्णातच्चरणं स्पृशन्। हरि बोल।
Thank you. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम आलो। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अदाहुं अमराचार्यं अगाध दिशणं द्विजं प्रसादईशे निषटः शीर्षातचारणं सुसन्। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Thank you. Krishna. Uttama Padma Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अत अहम अमर आचार्यम् अगाधादिशणं द्विजं प्रसादयिष्ये निशटः शेषनाथचरणं स्पृशन्। हरे कृष्ण माताजी।
Thank you. Atha, therefore, Aham, I, Amar Acharyam, the spiritual master of the demigods. Agadha Dishanam, whose spiritual knowledge is deep. Dvijam, the perfect Brahman. Prasada Yishaye, I shall please. Nishitaha, without duplicity. Sishna, with my head. Tacharanam, his lotus feet. Sparshan, touching. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. King Indra said, therefore, with great frankness and without duplicity, I shall now bow my head at the lotus feet of Brahaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods. Because he is in the mode of goodness, he is fully aware of all knowledge and is the best of the Brahmins. Now I shall touch his lotus feet and offer my obeisances unto him to try to satisfy him. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Coming to his senses, King Indra realized that he was not a very sincere disciple of his spiritual master Brahaspati. Therefore, he decided that henceforward he would be Nishita, non-duplicious. Nishitaha Sishna Taj Sharanam Sparshan. He decided to touch his head to the lotus feet of his spiritual master. From this example, we should learn this principle enunciated by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya aprasadat na gati kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. A disciple should never be a hypocrite or be unfaithful to his spiritual master. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11 Canto, chapter 17, verse 27, the spiritual master is also called Acharya. Acharyam Mam Vijaniyan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead says that one should respect the spiritual master, accepting him as the Lord himself. Nava Manyeta Karhichit. One should not disrespect the Acharya at any time. Na Martaya Buddhaya Ashuyeta. One should never think that the Acharya is an ordinary person. Familiarity sometimes breeds contempt, but one should be very careful in one's dealing with the Acharya. Agadha Dishanam Dvijam. The Acharya is a perfect Brahman and has unlimited intelligence in guiding the activities of his disciple. Therefore, Krishna advises in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 34. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam jnaninas sattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. One should fully surrender unto the spiritual master, and with service, sevaya, one should approach him for for the spiritual enlightenment. Verse 16. Evam चिन्तयतस्तस्य मघो नो भगवान् गृहात् बृहस्पतिर्गतो अदृष्टं gatim adhyatma mayaya. Translation by Prabhupada. When Indra, the king of demigods, thought in this way and repented in his own assembly, Brahaspati, the most powerful spiritual master, understood his mind. Thus he became invisible to Indra and left home, for Brahaspati was spiritually more powerful than King Indra. गुरोर्नाधिगता संज्ञानं परीक्षण भगवान् स्वराट् ध्यायन् धिया सुरेर्युक्ता सर्मा न लाभात् आत्मनः. Translation by Prabhupada. Although Indra searched vigorously with the assistance of the other demigods, he could not find Brahaspati. Then Indra thought, alas, my spiritual master has become dissatisfied with me, and now I have no means of achieving good fortune. Although Indra was surrounded by demigods, he could not find peace of mind. Tashrutva eva asuraha ashritaya oshanasham matam devan pratyudyamam chakrur durmada atatyayinaha. Translation by Prabhupada. Hearing of the pitiable condition of King Indra, the demons, following the instruction of their guru Shukracharya, equipped themselves with weapons and declared war against the demigods. Tayer vrishte shubhistikshaner nirbhana anguro bhavaha brahmanam sharanam jagmu sahendra nata kandharaha. Translation by Prabhupada. The demigods' heads, thighs, and arms and the other parts of their bodies were injured by the sharp arrows of the demons. The demigods, headed by Indra, saw no other course than to immediately approach Lord Brahma with bowed heads for the shelter and proper instruction. Verse 20. Tams tatha abhya arditan vikshaya bhagavan atmabhur ajaha kripaya paraya deva uvacha parishantavyavyan. Translation by Prabhupada. When the most powerful Lord Brahma saw the demigods coming toward him, their bodies gravely injured by the arrows of the demons, he pacified them by his great causeless mercy and spoke as follows. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyan Anjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांथा राधा कांधा नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण विष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे. Okay, let's read from verse 15 to 20. King Indra said, therefore, with great frankness and without duplicity, I shall now bow my head at the lotus feet of Brahaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods. Because he is in the mode of goodness, he is fully aware of all knowledge and is the best of the Brahmins. Now I shall touch his lotus feet and offer my obeisances unto him to try to satisfy him. While Indra, the king of the demigods, thought in this way and repented in his own assembly, Brahaspati, the most powerful spiritual master, understood his mind. Thus he became invisible to Indra and left home, for Brahaspati was spiritually more powerful than Indra. Although Indra searched vigorously with the assistance of the other demigods, he could not find Brahaspati. Then Indra thought, alas, my spiritual master has become dissatisfied with me, and now I have no means of achieving good fortune. Although Indra was surrounded by demigods, he could not find peace of mind. Hearing of the pitiable condition of King Indra, the demons, following the instructions of their guru Shukracharya, equipped themselves with weapons and declared war against the demigods. The demigods' heads, thighs, and arms and the other parts of their bodies were injured by the sharp arrows of the demons. The demigods, headed by Indra, saw no other course than to immediately approach Lord Brahma with bowed heads for shelter and proper instruction. When the most powerful Lord Brahma saw the demigods coming toward him, their bodies gravely injured by the arrows of the demons, he pacified them by his great causeless mercy and spoke as follows. All right, so we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, which is called as the Prescribed Duties of the Mankind, chapter number 7, which is called as what?
Indra
Indra
offends
offends
Indra
his
offends Brihaspati.
spiritual master, Brihaspati.
Very nice. So Indra offends his spiritual master Brihaspati. So Indra has offended his spiritual master by not paying due respects and obeisances to spiritual master. When the spiritual master of the demigods, Brihaspati, entered the arena where Indra was being worshipped with all paraphernalia. And then Brihaspati did not say anything. He could have cursed him, he could have chastised him, but he just walked away in silence. And as soon as Brihaspati walked away in silence, Indra got the intelligence that what he did was not right. So he rightfully started repenting for it. Right? He rightfully started repenting by saying so many things that I was thinking I was puffed up by my own opulence and my false ego. Then if somebody says that a king need not pay obeisances when a spiritual master enters the arena, they are wrong. Or if somebody is not paying respects to the spiritually elevated personalities, I'm paraphrasing, then they are surely traveling in a boat which is laden with the stones and it will sink, right? And now he's saying that I have done the mistake. Now I'm going to actually take myself with the repentant heart and bow my head at the lotus feet of my spiritual master to beg forgiveness, and will try to satisfy him by my forgiveness. So there are a couple of things in this particular purport that Srila Prabhupada is trying to emphasize on. And foremost important thing is that the importance of respecting the spiritual master. If we don't respect the spiritual master, then our spiritual life is doomed. Because spiritual master, expert spiritual master knows how to direct the disciple in Krishna consciousness. We don't know how to go ahead in Krishna consciousness. It's like somebody enters a curriculum in a university and they don't have any guidance from teachers, professors, or any peers. What are the chances that they will perform well? What are the chances? Imagine university, but no help. The chances are very slim, right? That they cannot perform well because the guidance is needed. Because an expert teacher, expert counselor, expert professor will know how to navigate the path and train the eligible student of the particular curriculum. So in that way, if it is for the material education, it is so difficult, then what to think of the spiritual education? Spiritual education also, we need a guide, and the guide that we need is not somebody that you pay or we pay to and then they give us a spiritual education. No, it is a relationship based on service and question. And that's what Krishna is saying: serve and ask, inquire. Right? Pariprashnena sevaya. Serve and inquire about the absolute truth. Because by the mercy of such a spiritual master, one can attain Krishna. Because in the mercy of the spiritual master, the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is given. But without the mercy of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. These are the words of the great acharyas. These are not my words. Okay, so whatever Indra is doing is right. See, what he did before is concluded by the Sukadeva Goswami that it was not correct. It was not a proper etiquette. It was not a proper, he failed to show proper etiquette to a Vaishnava. But what he's doing now is validated to be right. That it's not that, okay, I did a mistake. No, doing a mistake is not a big deal, but not rectifying the mistake and learning out of it is a big deal. Okay, then it becomes a habit. And then we become hard-hearted. So in that manner, just try to see the Krishna Balram. Just try to see that we are following the rules and regulations, or we are surrendered to a proper spiritual master. Because if the surrender is to a proper spiritual master, then following the rules and regulations is not very difficult if the relationship is stronger than the temptations. Right? If the relationship is stronger than the temptation, I'll give you an example of it. I see that all the time. When a newborn child is born, the parents have to basically have sleepless nights, right, for months together. Yes or no? Sleepless nights in the
Yes,
night.
Mataji. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Every
Yes.
2 hours, 3 hours, the child has to eat
Yes.
or drink. So, but would anyone rather have sleepless nights for months together? Or would be tempted to actually take rest in the night? What will be the natural inclination?
Take rest in the night.
Yes, but the relationship of the parent and the newborn baby is so strong that the temptations take the back seat. Okay. So temptations have taken the back seat in that particular scenario. In the same manner, if the relationship with the spiritual master is strong, the temptations will take the back seat. Okay, so rather than working on controlling the mind in the direct manner, which is a mistake of the modern society, because in the modern society, they identify the problem right. Right? They identify the problem, that the problem is that we have to do mindfulness. Right? That we have to practice something, attention span is decreasing of the people. So we have to be very, very attentive and mindful and have a lot of attention to the details of the work that we are doing. Yes, but the problem is that we cannot, the mind of in that situation is lacking a anchor. And the anchor, if the anchor is not there, then such a mind will automatically be swayed away by the temptations. So it will not be effective. Okay, so what do we do? So what do we do? So what do we do in the relationship is, so that is why this system of mind control, which is taught without giving the mind the solid anchor of a relationship with a spiritual authority, is never going to work. It's not going to work. They write tons and tons of books. I have a friend who was telling me one day that, oh, he met this really successful person who is a millionaire. With all due respect, Krishna gave that. And he meditates. So, okay, what does that mean? He meditates, like he gets up at 4:30 in the morning, and then he does this yoga, and then he sits in meditation for an hour and a half. And he says that his concentration is so good, his health is so good, he feels so good. I said, okay, so who is the guru of such a person, of your friend? My friend's friend said, don't know, but they meditate. Okay, so I said, I just asked one question, okay? I'm not judging, I'm trying to understand the connection, because the connection is very important, right? We just don't judge the book by the cover. We want to look at the contents. So then I asked, okay, so what is the diet of this person? Because he had gone out with this person for dinner. What did they eat? Oh, they're non-vegetarian. So immediately, you can catch that the temptation of the mind is not going to be swayed away because the anchor is not there. The mind is not anchored. So the relationship with the spiritual master is an anchor. The relationship with other devotees is an anchor. It pulls us back. Mind wants to go with the flow. But this particular relationship pulls us back. No. you belong somewhere else. Go there. That is why it is very important to have such a spiritual authority in a human form of life. If somebody is not leading a human form of life, just by looking like a human, according to the Shastras, one is not considered human. Then how one is considered human? By the behavior. And what is the behavior? What is dictated by the Shastras? That the ultimate aim of this person's life will be to become Nate Vidu Swartagatim He Vishnu, to become fully Krishna conscious. Okay, so what Indra is doing right now, by repenting, and by after repenting he's going to take action, is right. This is the right thing to do. So that is why he's showing by his example. He's the leader of the demigods. That is why he's rightly placed in his position. Demigods are not fully sense controlled personalities. They have so many avenues of sense enjoyment, right? But then they are God conscious people. They're very highly elevated souls. So this is a sign of an elevation. So we must respect this element of repentance and taking the right action by going to beg forgiveness from the spiritual master. Okay, understand that we need to have this reason. Why do I need a spiritual master? One can be like, books are available, holy name is available, temple is available, the process is available. Why do I need a spiritual master? Yes, everything is available, but the problem is that the spiritual master is an anchor. Right, it is an anchor. It actually anchors the mind and makes the temptations of the world weaker. They grow weak. It's not possible to have sense control and have no spiritual master. I have not seen a single personality like that. Have you ever seen any single personality like that? Have you ever any reference in the Shastras that the person is a very highly spiritually elevated personality but has no spiritual master? Any personality in the Shastras that you have read of, seen anywhere? Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, any other literature? Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. Yes?
No.
On the contrary, we get so many examples of the personalities who became spiritually elevated because of the presence of spiritual master in their life. Like they would not have had been spiritually elevated, but they become exalted devotees because of the spiritual master. Right? We have example of Jagai Matai. We have example of this Mrigari hunter. We have example of this Pingala, the prostitute. We have example of this Maya Devi, one who came to allure Haridas Thakur. Like we have so many examples. Prakashananda Saraswati. Prakashananda Saraswati in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we have these examples. The contrary exists, that somebody who takes shelter of a spiritual master by hook or crook becomes spiritually elevated. But the other side doesn't exist, that one doesn't have a spiritual master and is spiritually very elevated. Doesn't exist. The reason is very simple, as I stated, that the temptations have not found an anchor and that mind will be swayed away. So be careful. Okay. And then, of course, when he approaches, I do not fully understand that what made Brahaspati not accept the apology from King Indra. What made him go away, invisible to Indra, and leave home? I do not know. One can say that it because Indra was supposed to be instructed by Vritsasura. Or one can say that Indra only wanted to, I'm concocting these things, please his spiritual master, not for becoming Krishna conscious, but so that he continues to get this knowledge of how to win wars from demons. Because that's what he's doing now, right? He's going to approach Brahma because demons have now declared the war. Now, see, externally we are seeing when the spiritual master takes away his shelter from the head of the disciple, then so many problems come about. Brihaspati did not stay for Indra, and demons took advantage, and they started attacking, and these demigods were losing the war from the get-go because of the absence of the spiritual master. Right? So if we don't have a spiritual master, there's no way we're going to win this war, because we need this anchor, and we need instruction. We need the proper process, which only a spiritual master can teach to a disciple, to a sincere disciple. Okay, so understand that the verdict of all this is then Indra knows what to do, because Indra is a Kshatriya, and the Brahmanas dictate or advise the Kshatriyas how to fight the war and win the war, at least in the even both demigods and demons. And then he goes to Brahma, and then Brahma is going to pacify Indra and then advise Indra to take shelter of Vishwarupa. Okay, so understand, in all this conversation, the verdict is that offending a spiritual master is a grave offense. What is the need to have a spiritual master? There's so many reasons, but in this particular context, what is explained here is that there is no anchor where we can stand. And Krishna only becomes visible through the media of the spiritual master, through the media of a bona fide parampara. Otherwise, why would he say that approach such a spiritual master and inquire submissively and render service? Such a personality can tell you the truth because they have seen the truth. Krishna could directly say, no, come to me and I'll tell you about myself. No, he's saying it time again and again. And understand that when we offend the spiritual master and the spiritual master takes away the shelter of the mercy, then we don't stand anywhere. Either I am a human being or I am the best of demigods. There is no earth on which we can find our feet if the mercy factor is removed from our lives. So if you have a spiritual master and you have taken shelter, increase the surrender by following the process of rendering service and inquiring. And also be aware that this is a very special situation one can be in. Okay, and special situations are rare. Like special editions are rare, like special situations are rare. So we will always have less people who are convinced and have taken shelter. Then I'm not saying that people who have not taken shelter, not initiated, are less of a devotee. No, they're not less of a devotee. There's so many circumstances. Like for example, Prabhupada, George Harrison, right? George Harrison was helping Prabhupada so much to spread Krishna consciousness in England, but he never took initiation from Srila Prabhupada. But Prabhupada said that he's my uninitiated disciple. So the mercy can come in many ways, but in the context of what we are reading right now, this is what it means. What the pastime that's running, this is what it means. So if we have an opportunity to take a shelter of a bona fide spiritual master where my heart is ready to surrender, don't wait. What is the wait for? So many lifetimes are already gone. And if we don't have somebody that we can surrender to, then pray to Krishna to send someone like that in our lives, and Krishna will hear. Damodar month is a good month for such prayers, right? I think I'll stop here. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections, complaints?